My name is Moana Uluave-Hafoka, and I am the Policy Advisor for Diversity and Human Rights here in Salt Lake City. And we've partnered with FWD and I Am an Immigrant for this celebration for Immigrant Heritage Month. And we're grateful for all of you for coming out today. And we'll just get the party started. So here today, we're going to have Andrew Moriarty, who will be representing FWD, a national nonprofit organization that works each year to, in partnership with I Am an Immigrant, as well as Immigrant Heritage Month, to have these pop-up art installations all across the United States. And he's going to talk more about what their organization does and how they bring to the forefront immigrant issues. After which, we'll hear from Mayor Biskupski, who will give a proclamation. And following Mayor Biskupski, we'll have a representative from Salt Lake County, Min Xiao, and she'll say a few words. And then we have the opportunity to hear from two immigrant refugee community members. The first speaker will be Ciriac, and then our second speaker will be Saeed Adair. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Moana. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. I know it is just getting hotter and hotter, so I'll do my best to keep this brief. My name is Andrew Moriarty. I am a Deputy Organizing Director with Forward US, an immigration and criminal justice advocacy organization, and a proud partner of Welcome US and the I Am an Immigrant campaign for Immigrant Heritage Month. And we're so excited to be joining you all here for Immigrant Heritage Month 2018 in Salt Lake City. Immigrant Heritage Month is a nationwide effort to gather and share the inspirational stories of immigrants in America. Spearheaded by the I Am an Immigrant campaign, this year marks the 5th annual IHM celebration. For centuries, the United States has been a destination for immigrants and refugees from around the world who showed incredible courage to flee oppression, poverty, and persecution, to travel to our shores in search of a better life for themselves and their families. That our nation has welcomed these immigrants has been an incredible source of strength, but we have often done so imperfectly. Far too often, they were treated as outsiders, demonized, or marginalized because of their heritage. Today's immigrants come for many of the same reasons and continue to be met with some of the same rhetoric and racial prejudice. As we celebrate Immigrant Heritage Month, we must remember that many of our own immigrant stories are not so different from those who are striving to be part of the American dream today. This Immigrant Heritage Month, we are working with cities around the country to celebrate immigrants and the meaningful contributions they make to communities across the nation every single day. We've taken our Celebrate Immigrants campaign on tour, hosting community celebrations in cities like Houston, Atlanta, San Diego, and Chicago. And today we are here for our final event in Salt Lake City. Salt Lake exemplifies the contributions of immigrants, a city so fully shaped by migration, from the indigenous people who settled this land, to the first pioneers, through to all those who are still arriving today. Salt Lake fully embodies the promise and power of the diversity in art, culture, thought, business, faith, and community that immigration brings. I want to give a special shout out here to Paco, a proud Utahn, a dedicated dreamer, and a passionate volunteer who recently joined us on our I Am an Immigrant campaign. Paco came to the U.S. when he was 6 months old. He grew up in Utah. He's been active in the community here for years. Many of you might know him much better than I do, but I think his story captures perfectly why we're celebrating today, and I want to thank him especially for joining us out here. I'm very proud to have him on our team. The anchor of this year's IHM celebrations are these public art installations that we've set up in well-loved, diverse neighborhoods in key cities. As you can see today, our beautiful installation proudly displays I Love SLC. Throughout the day, participants will be encouraged to share their immigrant identity on the art itself by placing a flag representing their heritage on the heart. And we'll do that from our speakers in just a few moments. The majority of Americans have an immigrant story. Whether your family came to this country last year or more than a century ago, you have an immigrant heritage that has helped to shape who you are. This June, we are encouraging everyone, individuals, companies, public leaders, to take concrete action to celebrate immigrants in America, to share stories of the crucial ways that diverse communities enrich our society, and to join a growing coalition across the country to loudly proclaim that we stand with immigrants. I want to thank the mayor for joining us and the county mayor's office for joining us. I want to thank our speakers, thank the Eccles Theatre for hosting us in this beautiful space, and I thank all of you for coming out to join us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's hard to stand here and not acknowledge what happened today. Many of you probably know, and as I just found out because I've been in a meeting all morning, that the Supreme Court upheld the ban, the Trump ban on immigrants and refugees. And for me, all the more reason we need to be here today, and all the more reason we need to continue to show up for one another and understand that this concept of one tree and many leaves is exactly who we are as a community. And we are one, and yet we are individuals. And this city will always be a welcoming city, and this city will always be proud of who we are as a very diverse population, and one that will always celebrate that diversity and the importance of it. And so thank you for being here today. Thank you for organizing. You know, we have a lot of work to do to unite this country, but we understand the importance of it. And so I appreciate everyone being here today. So I'll read this proclamation, and here's what it says. Whereas generations of immigrants from every corner of the globe have built our country's economy and created the unique character of our nation, and whereas immigrants continue to grow businesses, innovate, strengthen our economy, and create American jobs in Salt Lake City, and whereas immigrants have provided the United States with unique social and cultural influence, fundamentally enriching the extraordinary character of our nation, and whereas immigrants have helped build railroads, airports, government buildings, and temples in Salt Lake City. And whereas despite these countless contributions, the role of immigrants in building and enriching our nation has frequently been overlooked and undervalued throughout our history, continuing to the present day. And whereas Salt Lake City continues to be a welcoming city that prides itself in honoring the diverse voices and lives of all people, from immigrant to indigenous. Now, therefore, I, Jacqueline M. Biskupski, Mayor of Salt Lake City, do hereby proclaim June 24th through June 30th, 2018, as Immigrant Heritage Week in Salt Lake City, and encourage all residents to attend and celebrate the positive impact immigrants have had and made in our city. Thank you. It's hot. Okay. So this goes to you, and thank you again for your help with this. Thank you. So my family came from two countries. Obviously, there's the Polish side, and Germany. So today, in honor of both sides of my family, I will be putting up a German flag and a Polish flag and say thank you to my great-grandparents who came here well over 100 years ago, and and created this opportunity for me to be mayor of Salt Lake City. So much gratitude to my great-grandparents.
Hello, everyone. My name is Min Xiao, and I speak with an accent, and I'm a proud immigrant. My great-grandfather actually immigrated to, let's wait till that finish. Should have just waited. Thank you, Mayor. So my great-grandfather actually immigrated to the United States in 1890, but because of discrimination policies back then, his family was never able to join him. I became an immigrant in the 1990s. It took almost 100 years for his descendants to be a part of the American dream. Today, I direct the Office for New Americans for Salt Lake County Mayor Ben McAdams. My job is to maximize the political, social, and economic benefits of all new Americans in a community. He's not able to be here with you today. However, he has a statement that I will read. Immigrant Heritage Month is an occasion that allows us to celebrate our origins as a nation of immigrants. By recognizing the contributions and sharing stories of each of our immigrant journeys, it provides us the opportunities for real listening, sharing, and understanding across differences in our background. At a time when there is so much divisiveness over immigration at the national level, public and private partners in Utah have come together to find a path forward to a more resilient and inclusive community. Today, new residents are a vital part of a community, bringing fresh perspectives and new ideas, starting businesses and contributing to the vibrant diversity that we all valued. I, Mayor McAdams, encourage all residents to share their unique immigrant journeys and to celebrate our diversity. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ciriac Alvarez Valle, and I am undocumented and unafraid. I am a DACA recipient, a first-generation high school graduate, a first-generation college graduate, and next year I will be the first in my family to obtain a postgraduate degree as a first-year law student. I was born in Cuernavaca, Morelos, Mexico, and I immigrated to the United States when I was 5 years old. And today I want to share my story through storytelling the way my culture taught me how as a spoken word. Because my story of migration began long before my existence or my creation. It began with a great-grandmother who literally tore her own skirts so my mother would have something to wear. It was a grandmother who would bear the burden of raising 14 and losing 4 children. It was a mother who was the first in her family to learn how to read and write and obtain an elementary education. You see, my cousin at the border told me, "Mija, todo va a estar bien. Vamos a pasar por esto." These are words that I cling on to when things become difficult, when my family has faced deportation, when DACA has continued to be in litigation, when my grandfather passed away 2 weeks before my college graduation. You see, I am one of the 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. I am also a DACA recipient, but I am also on the corner of State Street and 7200 South, open weekdays till like 8. I am also Liberty Park and Liberty Wells. I am the snow on the mountaintops. I am the shops on 9th and 9th. I am Utah, and I refuse to hide. You see, I am an immigrant. And today, when families are torn apart from their children, like my grandmother, I refuse to give up. When DACA recipients and young immigrants don't have any solution, like my mother, I do not continue to let that cycle continue. And like my great-grandmother, I will never choose to stand silent. My name is Ciriac Alvarez, and I am undocumented and unafraid, but sometimes I am afraid. I'm afraid that we'll never see the differences bring us together. I am afraid that you all will never create policies that will create a permanent solution for young people like me. But while I am afraid, I will choose to never give up. My name is Ciriac Alvarez. I am a Utahn. I am part of your community, and I am an immigrant. Thank you.
I want to thank you all so much for being here. Last night I had my speech ready for today. I'd written it all up and I'd put it on the side and I went to bed. And then I woke up this morning and as a teenager does, I checked Twitter and instead of seeing funny videos of cats or dogs, I saw something that changed my life. The Supreme Court is upholding the travel ban. And I am a Somali refugee. And my country is one of those countries on the list. If this had happened maybe a decade ago or longer, I would not be standing here. I would still be in a refugee camp where I was born, and I would never get the opportunities that I have now. My name is Saida Dahir, and I'm a student here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I've been a student here all my life. I remember nothing of my home because when I was young, I had to flee it. It was dangerous. It was hard to get an education. It was hard to get food. All the basic necessities one human being deserves was not a privilege for us. And I came with my family to America, and we decided to fulfill the American dream. And you know how hard it is to know that other people in Somalia, that my family in Somalia might not ever get to have the American dream that I had because of what they're labeled. I remember when I was in 9th grade, I read this poem about the Muslim ban, and it seemed like a far-fetched idea. I remember the mayor telling me that she loved my poem, and I was not going to read it today because I didn't know the outcome of this Muslim ban, but I know now the outcome, and I know that I'm going to work vigorously and tirelessly to make sure change happens in this country and make sure people with stories like mine, with faces like mine, with skin colors like mine can come here and can have the American dream that they want and need. So I hope you enjoy. Dear Mr. President, in those 7 countries, people can't even go to school. And here, we have the audacity to sit in class and drool. So many kids wish for an education with no limitation, but they live in a nation where little boys learn about war way before they learn their ABCs, while their families are thirsty and dying of disease. And when those bombs hit, there's nowhere left to flee. Are you too blind to even see clearly? Little girls are forced to learn how to cook and clean, but they don't even know how to read. Bounded to child marriages will never be free. Our countries are starving and our blood is oozing down the street. Mothers lose their children to conflict and violence. Mainstream media turns their head away in silence. We see their cries for help as a sign of defiance. Their bones are breaking from all this burden. Their skin is glass from all this hurting. For us, 1 + 1 = 2, but for them, 1 bomb + 1 bomb equals destruction. 1 missile + 1 missile equals massive reconstruction. 1 drone + 1 drone equals more obstruction. They are stranded alone, with no one who will avenge. They hear loud explosions again and again, but all these kids are wishing for is a paper and a pen. Thank you. In light of it being primaries, I want you to all to go out and to vote, because that is one of the reasons why my family came to the United States, for the freedom and the opportunities that we get here. So go out and vote. And I would like Ciriac to come up real quick. And I would like to say, my name is Saida Dahir. I'm a Somali Muslim American immigrant, and I'm here to stay.
My name is Ciriac Alvarez Valle. I am a Mexican immigrant, and I'm also here to stay.
Thank you, and have a great day.